Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of our, I almost said Motivation Monday, but I go by the name of Building Three Pillars for this particular show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you had some great weather. I like to start off with these fake weather reports I give. But yeah, I hope you guys had a great time this weekend. Hope you were able to get out there and take advantage of what we have right now. If you're in the Northern Kentucky area, we've been fortunate. Well, I call it fortunate to not have too much snow outside. I know some people may be getting anxious because we don't have quite the white Christmas they're looking for. However, I did hear we may have some on the way, and I'm referring to snow. So we'll see what happens with that. But anyways, uh, I've been trying my best to gear last week's show and the upcoming ones towards getting you guys ready for 2021. And not so much that I want to build around the stigma of we need to have something prepared for New Year's Day, but trying to get you guys more along the mindset of thinking that today is the day to get those new things started. All right. And so, with that being said, that takes us to today's topic: do it now. All right. And as usual, I'll start this off with a quote. It says, in any given moment, we have two options: to step forward into growth or step back into safety. That's by Abraham Maslow. All right. My question for you guys is, what are you scared of? So I don't know where you are. I don't know what kind of person you are. Maybe you're not scared of anything. Maybe you're already doing all the things you truly feel that you were meant to do. Well, I can say from experience that that has not always been me. I currently am doing everything I would like to do. And if I'm not doing it today, I'm working towards doing it right now. But that hasn't always been the case. So one big hurdle I had to jump over was when I got out of the Marine Corps, really, you know, being real with myself about what it is I wanted to do and realizing that it was going to require me to take a step back. And that step back wasn't anything too dramatic. Some of you have already done it, and you did it when you were a lot younger. I'm referring to going to college. It was the idea that I'd have to go sit in the classroom, you know, more time invested than I would like, listening to someone else tell me what to do, being surrounded by kids. I say that with no disrespect, but by younger adults who have a fresh view of the world and advantages, or maybe just some ideas that I don't currently have. And for some reason, that was intimidating. And not even just that idea. The real thing that was intimidating is that I knew somewhere in my soul that I would have to take statistics. I knew it. I knew there was going to be some way I wouldn't be able to work around it. I had heard all these awful things about stats and how difficult it was going to be, and that was one of the bigger things that actually worried me, believe it or not. Not the finals of any other class, just statistics in general was the class I was on the lookout for. But I told myself that I'll cross that bridge when I get there. And the original plan was to do physical therapy. And I'm not really sure how I thought stats applied, but I just felt like it was a general enough math that I wouldn't need it. And lo and behold, I went to go enroll in school. And guess what? It was on my career path. It was on my school path. And so, you know, by that point, I'd already decided I was going to go no matter what happened. I was like, you know what? I'm an adult. The things that used to concern me when I was younger shouldn't concern me anymore. I know why I'm here. I know what I want to accomplish. Today's show is going to be geared towards helping you get to a point where you can say those same things. You know why you're here. You know what needs to be done. You don't care what kind of obstacles you have to overcome. All right. But let's go back to what I said about what really had me hesitant at first to even go to school. That was fear, straight out. That was fear. Now, the thing that concerned me may not be the same thing that concerns you. I have no idea what your goal is. I can only, hope that if you're listening to this and if you've been listening to this, you're aiming to do something if you're not already doing it. All right. But some common fears that people may experience, I can say this because I felt it myself, it's the fear of failure. What if I don't measure up? The fear of not being enough. Outside of that, I mean, there's the fear of success. Um, I take this one and I look at business for me personally. It was the idea that, I have all these great dreams and all these great visions and things I would really love to see happen. But what happens when they do? Will I be able to keep up? Will I be able to measure up? Who am I going to be working with? It was all these things I had no business worrying about. You know what I mean? It was all these things just to nag at me and potentially hold me back and talk me out of doing what I really wanted to do. And then, of course, there's always the fear of judgment. If any of you are introverted or if any of you are shy, you can definitely attest to this. I personally can attest to this, especially when it comes to going live. As many times as I've done it so far, it still takes me a minute or two to get, in the zone before a show. I mean, even doing this podcast, it still takes a while for me to get my mind wrapped around the idea of like, oh shoot, I'm really going to do this. But the rewarding thing is knowing that someone's on the other side. So as I mentioned before, I really do appreciate you guys. But anyways, getting back to fear, it can be a staggering thing. And I don't know who you listen to, but you'll hear different, thought leaders, different motivational speakers. They'll all say that fear isn't real. It's something that's self-imposed. It's something that you tell yourself and you just constantly believe it, but we're not going to take that route. I just want to let you know, though, that it's not a mistake that you're listening to this today. I mean, I guarantee there's something you're doing that you could be doing better. There's something you want to do that you're not currently doing. It could be as simple as, engaging and setting a new routine for yourself, something that can lead you to a healthier path. Or maybe it could be leveling up and taking that next step at work or that next step on that project. There's some reason you're listening to this today. And if it is, I have 3 steps for you guys to put into practice. All right. They're going to be very blunt, though. So tip number 1, check yourself. All right. So you got to get real with your vision. You got to figure out why you want to achieve this goal. Now, the reason I start here is because if you don't know why you're doing it, you're not going to be strongly compelled to follow through with whatever that action is, whatever that vision is, And when you're thinking about your why, there shouldn't be any pretty answers. Like, for instance, whenever I start thinking about why it is I do what I do, the first thing that used to come to my mind is that, I want to set a good example for the people around me. Yeah, that's a good answer, but it's also, just scratching the surface. And now I recently started reading this book by Dean Graziosi called Millionaire Success Habits. And he has this awesome tactic that he uses to help people work through the top levels of their reasoning, which is coming from their mind, and get to the reason that's really going to propel them, which is going to come from their heart. That underlying reason that really drives you. And so he uses this technique called the 7 levels deep. All right. And so what it really comes down to is that, first off, you want to have someone to do this practice with. But even if you don't, you can do it by yourself. So you ask yourself why it is you do what you do, and you write it down. All right. And then you rephrase whatever it is you wrote down. And then you ask yourself why it is that you need to do that. And you repeat that 7 times until you get to that 7th time. I have no idea why the number 7. He didn't tell me in the book. He just said the 7 is the magic number. And I followed through with it. I tried it out and he was right. Once I got to my 7th why, that ended up being it. And it wasn't quite the answer that I thought it would be, at least not when I had the original idea brought to me. All right, so just to give you guys a quick example, I'm not going to run through all 7, but just work with me here. So let's say that I ask you why it is you do what you do, what it is you're hoping to accomplish, what drives you to get up in the morning, like what is your why? All right, and then let's say, for instance, you say that, well, John, I want to lose weight because I have, well, it may not be likely because of our circumstances, but I have my 10-year school reunion coming up next month, or not next month, but in 6 months. And I would really like to show up and look my best for that. All right. And then I would ask you, well, why is it important to you to show up looking your best? And then you may say something along the lines of, well, because it would be a great way to show those people who picked on me in high school, that, hey, look at me now. Ha ha ha. And I may say, well, that's cool, but why is it important for you to go back and have those people look at you with admiration? All right. And so we would continue along this path until we get to that 7th reason. I'm not going to take you all through that because it would take quite a bit of time, but I challenge you to go through with that. I challenge you to go deep and get to that 7th reason and see if that 7th reason isn't something that gets you going. All right. So in the book, he says that one way you'll know that you've reached it is because it'll be an emotional answer. All right. And so I'll tell you guys what my 7th reason is. My 7th reason is because, and it may sound selfish to you when I say it, but I'll explain. I want to have control. I found it very coincidental that the example he used in the book actually was the reason I had in my mind. Now, when I say control, it's not control as if I want everyone to do what I say, but I want to have the type of control over my life that no one can tell me that I'm not good enough to do this or that I can't go here because I don't have this. You know what I mean? Because I know what it is to be in a position where you can't, where you just don't have the funds, where you just don't have this, you don't have that. You're living in the wrong mindset. You didn't prepare yourself, appropriately. So now you can't take advantage of the things in front of you. I've been there. And my reason is I don't want to be that. I don't want my daughter to grow up seeing that. I want to provide the type of example to let her know that she can do it too. All right. So, anyways, that's my why. Got long winded on that one. But tip two, take immediate action. All right. That's my second tip. Take immediate action. Don't wait. You know, one of the most frustrating things that I've run into being a personal trainer is let me backtrack. I'm always thankful for the opportunity to talk to new people. But every now and then I run into people who are like, hey, man, I heard you're a personal trainer. I'm like, yeah, bro, I am. So, I mean, are you looking to get fit? And they'll tell me their story and they'll say, yeah, it'll be great. But first, I need to get in shape. Now, immediately what I hear when they say this is that one, if you knew how to get in shape already, and if you had the tools to do it and you were going to do it, you wouldn't need to come see me afterwards. But the second thing and the most important thing is why are you putting it off if it's really important to you to do? Now, I understand that financial things may happen and maybe you just don't feel that you have the funds, but I'm a pretty reasonable person. I'd write something out for you there on the spot if you're serious, just to get you going, you know? Um, but most of the time when this happens, like I said, people aren't really as serious as they want me to believe. It's usually just making small talk. But if you are serious, take immediate action. So the real question to ask at this point is, what can I do now? What can I do now? Well, once you figured out, what your vision is and why you're doing it, you pretty much have a roadmap. You pretty much have something that's going to pull you in the right direction. All right. And so uh, first, after you've been honest about where you are, write down where you want to go. Write down what that plan looks like. All right. Write down what that end step is. And then what I like to do is plan from the end. So if I'm aiming to get here, what comes before that? What comes before that? Until I get all the way to where I currently am. And then I take that first step. Now, the first step may be I don't really know anything about that industry. I don't really know anything about this particular topic that's going to let me take the first step. So I make a phone call. I read a book. I watch a video. You have to expand your connections, your neural connections, and your learning pathways, and also your network. There's a way to get into that area. There's no accident that thing is on your mind. All right. And one thing to make sure that this sticks is to do something that you can't take back. What do I mean by that? Well, for me, it was enrolling in school. Now, obviously, depending on your character, maybe you can falter. But by this point, we have to hope that if you're serious about making that change, your character won't allow you to back down. Make the phone call, enroll in the course, and tell someone about it. If you want to get a new job, fill out the application, press send. Don't even think, just do the thing. If you want to go to the gym, sign up with a personal trainer, tell your friend about it, and now you have an appointment. Like, do something now that you can't take back. All right. Yeah, that's going to be the best one for that, which leads me to step three. After you've done tip two, do tip three. Take more action. Um, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. None of the steps you're taking has to be super dramatic. You don't have to throw away all your old food or all your food you have in your refrigerator because you want to start eating clean today. That's not really the best way. You want to take gradual steps. Just like if you're going to go back to school, you're not going to want to jump right into, well, they won't let you, but you're not going to jump right into your, career path, depending on what you've done prior to this. Maybe you've already got some credits and some degrees. More than likely, if you haven't been to college, you got to take the basic classes first. You're going to need those refresher courses. I know I did in math. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I needed it. But after you take that first step, the great thing is you'll have information to go off of. You'll have confidence because you did it. Even if you were scared pressing the button or making a phone call, afterwards you're like, oh my God, I did it. Now what? After you go to that first class, let's say you fail. Okay, well, now you need more help. That could be a little discouraging, but at least you know where you are. After you go to the gym and you have your first workout and it probably kicks your butt, guess what? Now this is real. And the good thing is, out of all of that, is you'll get results. You'll get results after you act. I think a lot of the time, we as people, we want the results before we actually do the work. We want to have that great body before we go to the gym. We want to have that great body while we're still eating Big Macs 3 times a day. Not saying that you can't have a great body. I don't really know what your metabolism is like, but I'm saying the odds aren't stacked in your favor if the nutrition isn't stacked with it. So, yeah, follow that plan, and adjust as needed. If things go great the first time, good. Keep doing what you're doing. I guarantee some hard times are coming. Don't be scared of that. Do it anyways. But if it doesn't go according to plan, adjust. All right. So those are my 3 tips for you guys. Check yourself, take immediate action, and take more action. All right. So getting towards the end of this thing, I just wanted to share a couple of thoughts with you guys. As I mentioned earlier, one of the bigger things to stop people, and speaking from my own personal experience, one of the bigger things to stop me from taking action is that, that fear. And like we already talked about, that fear can come from multiple places. Multiple thoughts may run in your mind that are telling you that you can't, that you won't, that you're not good enough, that you don't have time. Yeah, that's always going to be the case. There's always going to be some thought in the back of your mind nagging, saying, what if this, what if that? Well, I like acronyms, and fear just so happens to have a couple of them. One of my favorite one is face everything and rise. All right. So if you listen to any of the other stories I've told, um, maybe I haven't told it on here, but whenever I've ever done something that was a little bit extreme to me, that seemed like it was coming completely out of left field, especially if it was going against everything in me, but I knew it was the thing I had to do potentially because maybe I can't back down in this particular situation. I mean, going to the Marine Corps, I think I've told the story about how I wasn't a great swimmer. I'm still not a great swimmer, but there was a time I was at a swimming pool in the Marine Corps. We had done it for morning PT, and everyone had to jump off the diving board. Now, granted, we do this in boot camp. We do this all the time, but it's like every time I had to do this crap, it was the first time in my mind. It's like I completely forgot what I did last time, and this time is brand new. And I remember like my friends are down in the pool. I had a couple of friends behind me, and they're all like, "Yo, go ahead, Waters, go ahead and jump in, jump in." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm about to do it," but it took me like 50 seconds to do this thing. And it was fear. It was fear. It was all those unreasonable thoughts I'd had before. Mind you, I've done this already quite a few times. I know I can do it physically, but somehow my head gets to me first. That part that's always like, yo, you can't, you can't. Well, conveniently for me, I have this button. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's the F it button. If you guys are familiar with, American culture, which I assume you are, we all know what F is. And so I press the forget it button right before I do anything crazy or reckless. Safe, but crazy or reckless. And I just do the thing, and so far I've always survived and I've always come out better for it. So maybe you just got to find your F it button, and just do the dang on thing. All right. My last thought. It's not anyone's job to save you. There aren't any real life Supermen or Wonder Women that are going to bust in at the last minute and change your life. Unless you change the perception of the person you see when you look in the mirror. You don't need anyone else's permission to do better, but yours. Remember that. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in today. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, please like, comment, share, whatever platform you're listening on. Please subscribe. Please follow. If you would like to follow me online, you can reach me on Facebook. My name is John Waters. I go by the tagline of Unlock Your Greatness. If you would like to follow the business page on Facebook, that's simply 3 Pillars Fitness LLC. If you would like to visit our website, that is 3pfitnessllc.com. Again, that's 3pfitnessllc.com. You can find me on Instagram by the same names I gave you for Facebook. And yeah, have a great day. Have a great week. And as always, keep pushing. Greatness awaits.